Hello, welcome to the Swatches live stream. I'm Clint, and this is Diana. We are professional illustrators with Swatches and art instructors with the Academy. And in this episode, we're going to be reviewing the finals for the Harry Potter TCG Art Challenge. As it shows there, this is completely unofficial. We have no affiliation with the Wizarding World property. We just thought it would be a good subject, and we've got some good art to take a look at. The participants have been working on these pieces for 6 weeks. We've had 2 reviews already. You can see here, those recordings are already on the channel. If you want to see the sketch review live stream or the color roughs, we looked at both of those stages. You can just look back on the channel archive and you'll see it back there.
It'll be, I think one of them is under videos and one of them is under live. And that's because we did try to improve the audio on one of them. I don't know if it really made a huge difference, but anyway, that's why they're in different places. This one got re-uploaded. But yeah, that is there for you if you want to go watch the previous ones.
Okay, we announced this last live stream, but I'll go ahead and say it again. The new Designing a Scene workshop is out. It is available on the website. This is a good introduction for anybody who is trying to start to put together scenes, in particular scenes that have background to multi-figures, have any kind of narrative. And this is just an introduction that borrows a lot of information from the cinematography, from photography, about camera placement, framing the scene, balancing it, doing visual storytelling with various elements, how to capture different moods through just compositional devices rather than getting into colors, and we don't get into any of that, no rendering or painting. So this is just a workshop. There are only 2 lessons. There are some assignments that go along with it if you want to practice those things. So check that out on the website. I think it's $37. And if that interests you, we do have the longer 8-week lessons on a variety of topics. So check those out as well. Okay, all the information looks good. People are already here. 14 people here. Nicole, Abraham, Erica. See lots of people here already. Kurt's first up. Okay, guys, let's jump into it. Oh, actually, I have one little slide. I want to touch on this first because this is going to come up with several pieces. And that is values. So looking across the finals that were submitted, the issue that most people seem to have run into was controlling the value scheme and also the value range and the value pairs. So ideally this is resolved at that color rough stage. And you should also be setting the colors for the scene and the lighting for the scene, but the value scheme is really important. So it should work in black and white with no details. These are 2 previous illustrations of mine, and the details have basically been turned off, and you can see that's the full detail version. But even if we turn that off, and even if we make it black and white, you can still make out that scene. There's still plane separation between the different elements. You can make out the characters. All the major beats of the image are still there. Another artist who does this really well is Rudy Siswanto. I don't know them personally, but their work really captures this. And this is just their sketch level for the image. And you can see here, again, really good value separation. Now, in particular, look at the value pairs. This is anytime the value of one object that's on a different plane is different than the value of the plane behind it. So in every place, basically, it's different. So if it's light here, the background is darker, right? If it's lighter here, the background is darker. It's darker here, the background is lighter. And this flip-flop between dark against light, light against dark, And sometimes they do it one way here, one way there. So they make it brighter here where the background is darker, but they make the character darker here where the background is lighter. And it always makes sure that the character is popping out from the background.
It's very deliberate, right?
Oh, yeah.
And it's not just one thing. It's not just, make sure, the background is light and when this is dark and vice versa. No, he's also, you also have to build the form in. He's prioritizing the form and then adjusting on the less critical peripheral aspects from where he can make this darker. As long as the main form is semi-consistent with the main lighting and the main form, he can do that. And if the background needs to get lighter in a certain area, he finds an excuse or a reason to do that, to make it lighter or darker back there, to create those value pairs. That is all on purpose. It's not an accident.
Same thing with these dragon concepts. You can see even at this stage, with basically no details, a rough drawing, no colors, it still works. The scene will work if you scale it up from here. But scaling it up with more rendering when this doesn't work will not save it. Colors and details cannot offset if the values are not working at this level, which is why we always try to encourage our students, certainly our team artists, to make sure that this is working at this stage. If it's not, don't keep going until it is. Okay, now let's get into some of the art with that in mind. I guess we'll just go through them as they are there.
We'll go in the order they're in.
Okay. Abraham is up first with his dragon chase scene. Now, Abraham, you are here, yeah? I saw you.
Oh, yeah.
Abraham's here.
He's here.
Okay, Abraham, let's say it. Right now, you have excellent rendering.
Yes.
You made a lot of edits based on the notes that we gave you last time, and I think it is the stronger for it. I think this is a better direction. We're utilizing a lot more perspective with the buildings instead of just some of the rocks that you had there previously. The character looks good. You just pull up on all of this. This is really
Can you pull rendering. Up on the shoe too? I just look at that shoe, huh? That's a nice shoe. Like, that's not that straightforward to do. The face on the kid looks great.
Yes.
The hands look great. Yeah, nice forms, very line decker. Yeah, I see what you're doing.
Yeah, the dragon has excellent resolution. So, Abraham, your rendering skills are excellent. I never look at your stuff and think, oh, that's the weak point, is the rendering. And for the rest of you, this is a really good level to aim at. And it's also a very excellent, I would say, style of rendering because it works for a lot of things.
That's true.
This could certainly fit within a fictional, Harry Potter magic sort of crossover style. It has a lot of color, but there's also a lot of realism. It pops out well. So, as always, we want to talk about if we can push it a little further, what does that look like? And we've got a couple of suggestions here. And it's not because we did things wrong. It's because there's always ways to optimize it or other things to consider. Just want a layer on top that I can point with. Okay. So when I'm looking at this, I am asking myself, is there a way that we could push the excitement? Can we push the sense of motion? Can we push the sense of danger or speed? Since that is the general feeling of this image. And there are a couple of ways to do that. One of the first things that I notice is that the legs just seem like they're not interacting with the speed or responding to the speed that the dragon is moving. So the dragon is at this tilt, but the legs are going straight down, Whereas if you are going around and taking a bank in a plane or even in your car, you can feel that you want to swing outwards. So that would be an idea, is that you can swing the legs outwards. And I will show you what some of these changes look like. I mocked them up earlier. Let me pull out so you can see the whole thing. There we go. So this is pulling the legs out. And we're also pulling up that left leg more. Again, if you just kind of play act it, which I did, I stood up over there earlier. I was just, if I'm going this way, I'm pulling up my left foot if I'm turning that direction. So I'm pulling that one up, which makes it a little more asymmetrical, and it gives a little more sense of the weight of the legs pulling out as it's trying to bank around. The next thing is, I was looking at the tail. I felt like the tail, I would rather see up here because it's visually just kind of cluttering up the space between the mouth and the rider, right? And I kind of want there to be nothing there. So what if we can put the tail up here? So I have a little paint out there, and then I cut out the tail and then had to cut it into pieces to put it around there. So there we go. Right there, we automatically have right there. So right there, I think we already get a better sense of action, and we're clearing that space between the characters so that you get the tension there. Next thing is a small thing here. I didn't feel like he was really looking at the guy. So just changing the pupil there so that he's looking more.
It's rotated a little inward.
A small thing here is adding a little more value separation between him and that wing. Really minor thing, but I just put it in there. Okay, next thing is with the eye. I think that the eye looked a little better if it was up and over a little bit. I did not check this against the actual design of the dragon.
So take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah. So sometimes we do need to adjust things on an illustration just for the sake of the illustration.
But also be aware that adjustments like this, we might get called out for it for not staying on model. So it's a 50-50 chance.
So this is something you would definitely want to check with your art director. Maybe they feel similar, they would like that change. Maybe they don't. Maybe it's too far off. Another thing, again, depending on whether you're trying to be really close to the model or not, is maybe pushing more differences in the size of some of the teeth. They're just all kind of quite small and even. And generally you want a couple of longer ones just to break up that shape. And making a little change here to make it feel like that sleeve was billowing in the wind a bit more. Small change. But all of these little optimizations add together. You could stop right there, and I feel like that is good progress from where it was. But maybe you want to push it further.
Maybe you want to do something more.
Yeah. The piece that came to my mind related to this was a scene of Will Dennison riding the Skybacks through Waterfall City from the Dinotopia series, which is this one.
Oh, yes. I've seen this piece before.
So this piece is by James Gurney, and he does an excellent job of capturing the sense of speed. So you know that the pterodon, it's a pterodon. The pterodon and Will are staying basically sharp, and then anything in the distance is staying sharp, but everything in the foreground around him is getting more blurred, right? It is as if there was a camera moving at speed with the subject, and that's the sort of distortion you would get. So if we wanted to use a similar effect, again, I just roughed this in, which is, I made a copy of it and ran a radial blur with the point being back here. So it's blurring in a pattern like this. Okay. Now, that is not a one-stop answer because then you get all of these goofy stuff over here. And we have to clean up the edges. And then I thought we could just put in some little streaks. Maybe it's bits of smoke or air particles or whatever, or just action lines. But they can be a nice effect, and maybe boost it up a little bit there. And that also is another variation of how we could push the whole scene if you're trying to capture more of that other mood.
It's a different approach. It's not that yours is wrong. It's just we're putting it out there that if you wanted to achieve this effect, this is how you could do it.
Mm-hmm.
But I also like the background that you put in there, and I don't know that you necessarily want to, distort it. But I do think adjusting the legs at least and the tail would go a long way, and giving a bit of haze in here. I think it's a nice place to put the image, has a nice vibe. If you want to go more extreme with motion blur, then that's an option for you.
Yep. So, beautiful piece. Really glad to see you put this one together. And hopefully that gives you some ideas, maybe for future pieces.
Yeah. You're making good progress on your scenes. Keep doing more. I think you should do more. I think it's going well.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you more to do anyways.
Okay, Bjorn. So most people did not get to a full final. I think most people consider theirs still as a work in progress, and Bjorn is one of them, and had some notes there.
Yeah, I'm sorry that you were injured, Bjorn. That sounds like it's not a good time at all. Based on what you're saying here, it does seem that you are aware that you need to put more time into this. You're already thinking about it. So that's a good thing, because we were going to suggest putting more time in. I'm just reading the comment here. Okay, so you got our comments. Okay. Right. Okay, so you got our feedback. You responded here. That's good. So let's take a look at your image. Because you asked for more feedback, you know that you want to put some more time into it. Let's see where you can go with it.
So this is a solid middle stage. Right, you can certainly take this to completion. No, I would not consider this complete. Let's pull in and take a look at why, for anybody maybe that's watching. We're not getting actual rendering of form rendering on things. This is still just kind of a cut out look, just almost a flat color. Okay, this is the shape of the arm, but there's no real proper definition on that.
Nah, I don't think he's gotten around to that part at all.
No, I don't think so too. And the rest of this has a photo bashed sort of paint over look. I think there was some photo bashing maybe going on with the background, which is fine. I don't have any problem with that, putting down some base colors and information. But you do have to go over every bit of it and clean it up and blend it into the painting. It is nice to see the castle back, and there are a lot of work to put it in there, but it's a major selling point, I think, of this image for it to be there.
It does look nice.
Yeah. So going forwards, one of the main things that I can recommend is don't get sidetracked with the details of certainly the ground in the background. There is so much stuff down there, but you don't want to get caught up in it. This is what the subject is. So all this stuff back here, try to limit the amount of information and don't zoom up when you're painting it. This is another note for several other people, which is most of the time you ought to be painting your piece where you can see the whole piece on your screen.
Like at full screen size.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So right now I can see the whole image right there Obviously, you've got a little crop of the webcam down there, but whatever. And if you start needing to zoom up to put in a detail that you can't see it full size, then it's kind of wasted. And we catch ourselves having to do this as well. Mm-hmm. So most people, this is as big as they're ever going to see it. And if it's printed on a card, it might be like this.
Yeah, but they'll see it bigger online.
Yeah. But they're likely not going to zoom up on anything beyond the full size.
Probably not.
So,
and also, in fact, even magic cards, if they're painted on a traditional canvas, are usually not bigger than your monitor size anyway.
Yeah.
So you have to, and you don't have to, but it's more productive to think about it just in these dimensions and not go any bigger or any closer.
I pulled up some references. So my main note is simplify the light tone and shadow tone. That is, simplify as much as you can, certainly in the background, to just what is the light part and what is the shadow part. Take a look at some people who did that sort of approach. Kate Burmack, we've looked at her stuff before. Mm-hmm. Basically, there is a light tone for that rock, and there is a shadow tone. Look at all the detail in the shadow. There is none. It's just, everything is what James Gurney calls shape welded. All the shadows are just welded into one
mass
shape. Yeah, one mass. And same thing back here. Like, this light part is basically one tone, and it's all welded together into one. And the shadow tone is just welded together in one. And that's fine. And he gets away, or she gets away, with adding just a little texture as kind of a way to break it up to keep it from being too flat. And that's nice. But I want to draw your attention to this one. I don't know who did this. I did not do a reverse image search. I just came across it on Pinterest. But this is a good example of establishing a lot of information with very little rendering or detail down there. Look at that. They're not actually drawing any trees. It's just a different color and some texture like of how it edge. Overlaps.
Yeah, textured edge on the brush. Mm-hmm.
So we got that there. Same thing on here.
Very similar to yours, actually.
Yes. And note, again, guys,
I even think there's too much texture going on down there. But not saying that this is not a critique on this person's work, but I'm saying that you could even do it with less. Like in the other one.
There is no real detail on this. There's a few areas that have just a little more refinement, but generally this is a detailless image, and it completely works because the values work, the drawings work, and the colors work, and that's it.
And the volumes work.
Yeah. So I'm used to saying Anthony. John Avon is the other magic artist. Anthony Avon did this piece. I don't know who did that one. And again, you can see where basically all the shadow is one tone. Now he's gone in and divided it up with a few other little tones, but basically you start it with just that. And simplify it.
It's different here. I mean, the environment is
the feature.
The feature.
Yeah.
You don't even need to do that. This is just, I think we covered this in the illustration course, which is as you go further back in the image, the planes get further away. You retain form information, but you lose detail and texture. You lose resolution. So you basically just need to think about it in terms of the notan as you go back. And then with the atmospherics, limit the value range as you go back. So it's frequently less work and detail than people assume.
Yes. So I want to note down here, I've got Hogwarts just pulled off onto its own layer. And right now it's feeling particularly dark and kind of flat. So we want to pull out some more information on it. We don't necessarily want it to be fully detailed, but I find a nice way to do that is to get it onto its own layer and then go to adjustments, brightness, contrast. I use legacy because it gives me stronger results. And you can bring that up, you can bring this up. And you can see how much more sort of resolution you can get out of it compared to where it was. Right? And I cleaned that up a little bit. So here, Sandcastle, no painting going on, but already you can see a lot more resolution coming out of it. And I also did a color adjustment so that we get a little more color balance. It's not just so sort of yellow-brown. And if you want to simulate some atmosphere, just use a color overlay effects on the layer. And we could get something here. So you pick out a color, say if it's in shadow, then maybe it's a tone similar to this. And you can just set what the opacity of that
like is. Like a filter on top.
Yeah. And you can also set it to lighten if you want it to just work like a atmosphere with softening things. Then it will just reduce how dark the darks are and everything else lighter will show up. And that's another way to do it. I think that's just a nice way that you could pop that out a little bit with minimal extra work. But otherwise, look at how they can simplify things like the trees, because back here we're getting a lot of just texture kind of information.
This is too much information.
Yeah.
And it actually reads less well than if you just had two tones back there.
The rest of it needs just good form rendering. And think about just painting the form without the feathery texture, and then come back and add some texture on top of it, rather than trying to paint the light, shadow, and texture all at the same time, because that's really difficult.
I think with a lot of materials like scales and feathers, you actually see more of the material is revealed in the transition areas, right? So you can take advantage of that as well, where you don't necessarily need to paint every feather, but as you move from light to shadow on the edges, you can, put those individual feathers there, light on dark, dark on light, etc.
Okay, well, we hope you end up finishing this piece. I would love to see the final. You can certainly post it out on the Discord. There is the challenge section out there for anybody who ends up finishing their piece, and put it out there. I'd love to take a look at it.
Yeah, this has the makings of a really good portfolio piece. It just needs 30 more hours, give or take. Good job.
Arena is working on the Helga Hufflepuff piece. She said that my workflow is still very slow and inefficient. Didn't have a chance to finish everything on time. Decided to just focus on rendering Helga. So there is some nice rendering going on here with the character. Getting some good forms out of the face, some good kind of color map, tones around the eyes and the nose and everything. Developing a lot with the costume. And this is a nice rendition, I think, of Helga. She does have a warmth to her. But also there is an air of like, she is somebody of importance. And that comes across in the costume really well. So a main suggestion here is not on the rendering the character, which is coming along nicely. It is the importance of just managing the project and managing the time when you're doing one. So for everyone who is going through this challenge, any kind of challenge like this, the whole idea is to push yourself to see where your skills are at and where maybe you're weak. And for you with this one, it is learning how to establish that value and lighting scheme at that color rough stage. That is the critical thing, because going forwards, I'm afraid that you will run into something that I've seen a lot, which is I've seen a lot of people get an image to this stage right here and then just quit the image because they don't know where to go after doing the character.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't know how to apply that. And that's a critical thing because whatever level you set on the character kind of needs to be carried to the rest of the image. So that's why it's really good to be doing the whole image at one time, like developing the forms, developing the values and the color so that it keeps it all consistent. Another thing is just the time management. There was a lot of time that went into doing this character, and I don't want to take away from the rendering you did there, but I wouldn't really consider a lot of this to be critical painting. So instead of putting attention there, we could have spent more time bringing the entire piece up. And ultimately, I think that's where you would get more.
I don't think that was the straw that broke the camel's back. I mean, ultimately, it needs a lot more time on the whole image, right? It's you can't render all these things quickly. But I feel like, and it's totally natural. It's not like it's a shortcoming of yours. That we all have a tendency to kind of push things till later. Like, I'll deal with this part later. And then it just, the things to deal with later just pile up, right? And it becomes overwhelming. Whereas I think actually you could have gotten more of a jump start on the background at an earlier stage. At least with a no-tan and a screen layer, like a multiply and a screen layer to bring out the forms of the shadows and the lights on the background. And it would have gotten you closer to your final than, you know, where you're at right now, where the character's so much higher. Like, the distance between the character and the background are huge now. In terms of finish, where they could have been a little closer together. And it's something we call MVP, which is trying to get the whole image to 70% before we go in on 80, 90, 100 on any one area. That being said, I think, you know, it's never a bad idea to prioritize the face and prioritize the focal points. I don't think you did anything wrong there. But yeah, trying to get that background a little bit more developed at an earlier stage can really help a lot.
Now, I know that I have certainly faced pieces where I did not know how to go about developing the piece after a certain stage. I had a drawing, I had some colors, and then I was like, I don't know where to put the light. I don't know what the color palette's going to be on this. And just got really stuck until I found a reference that somebody did a similar scene, and that can make all the difference. It's like just seeing how somebody else answered that problem, resolved that thing, and it's like, okay, well, I don't need to copy that, but at least that helps me think about this the right way.
It's like finding a recipe, right? It's like if you never made pancakes before, or you made them before, but you don't remember how, and you're just trying to guess what goes into it, rather than just finding a recipe for pancakes and following it. It's a lot more straightforward, right? So we have an image here. I think you brought it in. Right?
Yeah, I came across this image for Smite, and obviously the subject is a bit different, but the general layout and kind of lighting of the scene, I think, could be ported over quite reasonably with what you have. So the main character, again, is more fully lit, more values, more color and resolution, and there's a lot of stuff in the background, but most of it has just ambient light on it. There's very little light shadow, no tan pattern. You're not doing full rendering on every object.
Well, you have it, but it's not like a huge distance.
Yeah, it's a very soft ambient light, which helps reduce the amount of visual information back there. And they're also just kind of keying all the colors to one range, which helps, again, simplify it so it's not just chaotic.
And I feel like that's close to what you were intending or thinking to do in your background. So it might be a good solution for you to have an image like this or this image or a similar one as a reference, so that you at least, again, you have like a recipe to go forward. You might want to make some changes and tweak it along the way, but it will just provide you with some answers.
Okay. Well, we wish you the best, and I hope you finish this one up. I want to take a look at it.
Yeah, it's a lovely piece. You really should finish it.
I think somebody's saying it's late for them.
Yeah, it's for Ita. Which piece? It's the spider, yes.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, we'll take a look at yours. No, you're not being pushy. We don't know who's here and who is in a later time zone, so it's good for you to let us know.
Okay, we did take this to a good level, and I see that you implemented a lot of the notes that we went over last time. So the lighting is certainly more dynamic, and the focus is more on the spider themselves.
Sorry, I just want to open this, as I like to see a thumbnail, you know.
So this is working pretty well. We could still increase the amount of light on this scene. It's still in a very low range. And a lot of times we can cheat night scenes where they're not nearly as low in value as what real night is like.
Yeah.
So that is something that you could do, and that would get us a lot more color. And honestly, it just makes it easier because you're giving yourself more value range to work with. It's just hard to do it when you have a very limited range. The next things, I have two main things that I suggest. One is we do have some of these foreground leaves on each side. There was something like that. And either they need to really be made lighter or darker, or we need to add like some atmosphere behind them or something. It's just right now they are almost the exact same tone.
They're just running together with the background, with the ground.
And when we kind of pull out a little bit, it's just all the information of the ground sort of goes into those leaves.
Right? Look at the thumbnail. This is what would be printed on the card, right?
Yeah.
So you can't make that out at all.
So that would be one point. The next point would be going over the render some more with the spider, in particular the spider's body and legs. So this is a quick suggestion of what the texture is like and what the form is like. But something that would really elevate this is to go more precise with it. Instead of drawing individual hairs, can we find a more nuanced way of giving it fur and practicing maybe how to do kind of long, stringy fur.
And we need more form here. It's becoming quite flat across this leg in particular.
Yeah, we want to be able to fill this sort of curve, which means the top is probably lit and it needs to get shadowed on either side, but we still need it to separate out from the background, and we need to go through each one of these and make sure that they have good form rendering over them.
If you want to continue to work on this, Ita, it says you're saying that it's not finished. I tried to apply all your feedback. My skills aren't there yet. You're making progress. You're working on it. You recognize that there's more to do, and that's good. I think it's a good piece, and if you have the energy, the mental energy to put any more time into it, I would just go get some spider references.
Yeah.
And or even like a 3D model of a spider on Sketchfab or something. Throw a light on it and just see what you can get out of it. And some photos of real spiders, and see if you can implement some of that texture onto yours, and just a little bit more here on the body, a little bit more on the legs, I think would make a big difference in quality.
Go pull up stills from the movies. Look at the actual design of Aragog from the movies, see what kind of texture he had.
Yeah, you don't have to
what sort of
copy him
detail.
exactly, but just see what's going on there, what the textures are like.
Check out Shelob from Lord of the Rings. See if maybe there's some
right.
concept art for Shelob or something like that. And again, that's one of the things I feel like artists don't do enough is look at the solutions that other artists have already come up with for that thing and just try to learn from those. And that will help not fix the problem, but it'll get you ahead faster than where you were.
Yeah, a little more reference never hurts. And I think this could really benefit from just another pass with some photo reference and maybe a 3D reference if you want to, put any more time into it.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, good effort for your skill level. I think, your drawing was really
Yes.
good. Your drawing skills were really strong, really good. You really got a good sense of what you wanted to do. I think where you could maybe do some studies and focus on improving your skills a little bit, maybe beyond the form rendering and on materials, textures like fur, hair, and any other ones that you want to work on that could improve, the quality of your work because your drawings are good.
Yep. Okay, I haven't been tracking who else is here. I don't know if Javier is here.
Not sure. Oh, that sunlight is making me feel kind of ill. It's reflecting right into my face.
You can move that cardboard if you want to try to block something.
Yeah, maybe I will.
Okay, I'm going to just keep going. I'm going to go to Javier next, and I don't know if they're here or not. Javier, I like the edits that you made. His pose feels like it has better mechanics and sort of walk to it. Oh, he is here. Okay. And the background, I like those edits as well, mainly with the values. We have better separation between the building and the sky now. So overall, this just feels like a more finished piece. I feel like it's coming together better now. Mm-hmm. And I don't have any big changes to suggest here, just a couple of things that you can do here at the end that are fairly non-destructive that just pluses it a little bit. So I copied it to its own layer. And, firstly, just the image, also quite dark. This is another one that we could brighten up some and not really lose anything. So that right there would just be a good way to brighten it up. It would print better this way, and you're not losing any of the impact of the image. The next thing is just trying to get this guy to pop out a little bit by adding a little atmosphere, particularly around like the head and the corners. This is not going to make or break an image, all right, having it or not having it. But it is just a good way for the character, again, just to pop a little bit, which is really nice when you get it small and you can clearly pull out and recognize the shape. So I hope that you found this challenge helpful. And I think you've arrived at a pretty nice result that captures what was requested in the brief.
Yeah, to me it looks like for, where your skills are at and what you were trying to accomplish, you came out with a really good outcome. So 2 thumbs up.
Yep.
I hope you enjoyed it and got some useful feedback, tips about it.
Okay, let's go. Next one.
Yeah, and also good job on finishing your image.
Yes, you did finish. Okay, Jennifer.
Is Jennifer here? I don't know.
I don't know. Jennifer,
Sorry,
if you're here, let us know.
Yeah, it's hard to read the previous messages for me. They're really small.
So Jennifer is doing Rowena Ravenclaw. And she's in her study, and she's flying some books around, and she's got her Raven Patronus there on her shoulder. This is a good follow-up to where you were at the color rough stage. I don't don't know that I would call it finished because I think you can still get some more out of it. But it depends whether you're done with this piece or not.
You're the artist. Only you know if you're finished or not.
That you had to turn it early because you had some things to do. I feel like the right side of the image feels empty in comparison to the left side. Neither cropping the image nor adding floating book pages solve the problem. Do you have any suggestions? Suggestion would be put the character in the middle.
Yeah, just move it.
Make it more centered. Unless you had something significant over here, like a second character or something, then we're not gaining anything by having them off-centered. If you did it the right way with values, you can kind of balance it, but we're not doing that. So I would just say, I think you can move it over. So yeah, I did a variation where we just
move it over.
Just moved it over.
You have to paint a little extra book in on that side, but it's nothing major.
Extended this a bit and then moved. I ended up having to move that bottle because the bottle was just sitting right in the middle, which looked kind of odd. So I moved it over a little bit. And that would be helpful. Going forwards, the face could use a little more attention, mainly because we're getting a lot of just kind of gray tone. It's just kind of getting grayed out through the face. So potentially just using a layer and just glazing over a bit more warmer skin tone around everything other than just the eyes and like eyebrow and in the mouth. And this just softens the face up and infuses a bit more color back into the face to help balance out the grain. That often happens one of two reasons. One is you shaded with black or dark gray and that desaturates the skin, or it will happen because you put in a black and white version first and you colorized it, and that will also occur. So I don't know if that was one of the cases, but those are the two most common reasons. And that's how you can quickly balance it, is another layer, either a lighten in this case, because I'm trying to bring it up in value, or a normal layer at like 30 to 50% opacity. Any other thoughts? Anything you would recommend?
I like the expression on the face. I want to say it's well painted. It has good planes. It looks correct. So that was a job well done. Some things, I'm not sure, but there are just a couple of things that catch me in that I don't know if I'm seeing this correctly, but I feel like this is off center here. And you could just do a quick warp and move
just
it.
Make it straight.
Yeah, bring it over. Just feels like it's...
No, the design is quite nice. I like the multi-layers to the costume. We have multiple belts.
Yes, it does feel fantastical.
Yes.
One issue I'm not sure of, which is confusing to me, which is this shirt is white, I believe. Is that the same shirt that's here on the sleeve?
Because it does look blue there.
Yeah, it looks like a different color. But it could also be this inner shirt. But it looks like it's this one because you've kind of grouped them together with the same buttons. So it feels a little odd. I would personally make it white. I think you've got a lot of blue going on already. And just let this part be white and this part be a continuation of that shirt. I think that would be fine. But that's, it's not going to, again, it's not going to break the image. It's a small thing. Yeah, if it was mine, I would put a little bit more time into developing this background a little bit, maybe changing some of the tones of the wood from one side to the other and the tones on some of the books. I might even try to introduce some other color, gold or silver, something to break all this blue up. But that is, subjective.
Clearly you put a lot of time and effort into this. It does show. It's got a very clean drawing to it. It's one that shows a lot of thoughtfulness
Yeah.
to each step of the process.
And I have to say, all things considered, your drawing is strong, your composition is good, and there's no foundational errors that I notice on the piece, other than maybe just a bit of those gray tones on the face. But it's a well done piece. Could it go a little further? Yeah, but that's up to you how much more time you want to put into it.
Yep. Okay, let's check the next one. We just know that we have a tendency to go extra long, so we're trying to make sure we
I don't want to
are
ramble, I'm sorry.
moving along today. Kurt has Godric Gryffindor.
Gryffindor.
Godric Gryffindor.
Oh my God.
Yeah, no serious changes to the direction of the image.
Really
Just
nice
more
improvement.
resolution.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the extra material detail on that front part of the, on the environment here. Your stonework and your gargoyle here looks nice, looks very believable. The treatment on your gargoyles. I really like your background development. I love that. I don't know how you guys feel, guys that are watching, but I always appreciate some more set dressing and some more background development. It doesn't have to be a ton, but I really enjoy seeing that. So good job.
Yeah, good resolution on the character as well. We've said very little about the character because I think that was just one of the stronger points of the image was the rendering and the drawing on the character. This is another one, just maybe a few little tweaks to suggest just to pop the character out. It is quite a successful image. I think it's delivering what it's trying to convey. And one would be, I'm going to note this because I don't know if you want to consider it a mistake. For me, it feels like this is curving up too much. And I would suggest adjusting it down a little bit. Now, one of the reasons for that is because we're using fake perspective. We're looking up at this building, but we don't actually have any distortion. We're not actually getting
Converging.
any foreshortening or parallax as it goes up. So if we were doing that, I would say that your tower looks correct because we need that going up. But we're not. Everything's just straight. And because of that, we're treating it as if this is a telephoto lens that we're looking through. And when you do that, everything goes from like parallax to being straight. And then also flattens out curves like this. And they look more flat. So to match the curve to the straightness of the rest of this, I would say we bring it down a little bit. That's where the suggestion is coming from. The other thing would be the same thing I mentioned on the other one, maybe a little atmosphere behind a few points, just pulling him out there, because this is a higher amount of detail at a similar value range as his shoulder and the shirt, so we could bring that out. Same thing over here, these two were getting quite similar. So we can
separate them.
Yep, separate that. And getting some separation between the foreground little architecture pieces and the legs. And that would be good. Unless you put some extra light on the foreground thing. And his can be dark, but I think this is fine. And this is simple.
It's an more elegant solution.
Yep. So that would be a minor thing to do there. You can continue with this if you wanted to add more resolution, everything. You could add more detail to the building, still you're happy with. I didn't make any of these changes, but we're just saying maybe you could, YouTube's not receiving enough video.
Oh. Can anyone just let us know if you have any issues with the stream, if you notice any errors? We're getting a notice of some kind of problem, but we don't know what's causing it.
Oh, it's back to green, so I don't know
Okay.
why we were getting a dip there. Okay. Were you thinking with the Patronus, any
Okay.
good changes there, though?
Yes. Look, the piece is good, and I think the stuff you did is great. If it was mine, and I'm not saying you have to do this, you can totally be like, I'm done, and I don't need to do anything else. But if it was mine, I would put... Oh, it's buffering a lot. Yeah, it keeps giving this error. What's wrong with it?
I don't know that there's anything that I can do now.
We don't know what's going on with it. It's usually fine. I don't know. Hopefully you can hear us okay. Just don't move the screen so they don't get any jittering. But hopefully the audio is okay. If it was mine, I would spend a little bit more time on the Patronus. The facial anatomy on the lion is throwing me off a little bit. It doesn't feel as correct as the architecture as your guy. So that is what I would do. I'd spend a little bit more time on that lion. He's just so big and so prominent, like it's hard to not focus on him. And he's fine, like we said, it's fine as is right now. And if you don't want to go into it anymore, that's totally fine. But if you were to ask, what could I do to plus it? Yeah. I would spend, honestly, another 3 hours on that Patronus.
Yeah, take a look at the Patronus from the movies as well. I mean, I've referenced last time some images of like different holograms and magic and stuff. But do look at the movies, and I think one of the things you get from the movies is there's more wisps that come off of them.
Yeah, but it's specifically the face that I'm talking about. I feel like this center line, this crease is maybe a bit too harsh. I would rethink that and clarifying some of these areas here.
Yeah, you've put scars in around the eyes, which I don't know if Patronus can have a scar.
Well, that's not the issue. The issue is that it makes it kind of hard to read.
Yeah, that was where I was going with it. Is I don't know if you're making it unnecessarily harder to make out by doing that.
Anyway, it's that, again, doesn't break the image. It's just a subjective suggestion.
Yeah.
Good job, though, Kurt. Yeah, well done, and good job finishing and implementing stuff. And I think the image is really nice.
Nicole was doing her piece of Salazar Slytherin. This is good progress from the last one. I don't know if you consider this finished or not. I would say that there is room to continue with it. This is good improvement from where it was. We've centered the character more. We have taken down the value of that window, got a stronger rim light on him, developed him a lot more from where he was.
Lots of good improvements.
Yeah, moved this over here. I like the shape of that. It gives a nice little silhouette there. Changed the pattern of the snake, so the snake isn't just right in our face the way that he was. Which is a good call, because now Salazar feels like he's more of the subject.
I think you did a really good job incorporating that Patronus into this composition. So yeah, good work on that.
So at a smaller scale, I'd say that it's working pretty well. But it's just when we pull up, there's no extra resolution. We're not getting any extra details. And everything's still pretty chunky. So I know that you can do a higher level of finish, from the classwork that you've done. So that's what we need. We now need to just say, okay, the piece is working. I'm not going to make any other large-scale changes to the drawing, the values of the color. I now need to just go element by element.
To refine.
Yep, and refine it. So one of the things...
She said she redid the snake about 6 times. Well, I don't know what the other versions look like, but this looks really good. I love the face. It reads so well. And you didn't overcomplicate it. It works really well.
So what I have here is the guy just needs a second pass. In particular, the guy, not the background. The background could actually stay pretty close to the way that it is.
Yeah,
Overall, the
you can
scene
get
reads
away
well.
with it, but I feel like your guy needs more love.
He seems pretty wide, and there's really just no break of darkness across this kind of mass.
Yeah, look at the
So
thumbnail. It's quite wide.
I would go something like this, where we're pulling his arm in a little bit, and his arm seems really long right here. So pulling his arm in a little bit, and then maybe even having some negative space between the arm and the body.
I
Just
think you could even get more.
yeah. So you can help read visually what is going on there. And now we can make out his stance a lot better. And it's going to be something in that vein. When we get up to the face, this looks like what we get basically if we're trying to make up a face, which is fine. You got to do
It
a
looks
sketch
like it's
in.
been blocked in.
Yeah. But then we need some good references of real people that have some of those characteristics that you can then start going, okay, well, I'm looking at this guy's eye sockets and the way that his eyes are looking at you, and you start borrowing these details but matching it to your lighting and your colors.
Just implementing things from a real face.
And you need to do that for each area. You're looking at the sleeves, either find photos or just get some baggy piece of fabric and take some photos.
Bed sheet, you name it. Yeah.
Yep.
They all work.
And have a piece of art that is the style and quality direction that you're aiming for. I grabbed this one just because it was like another magic person standing there in black. I'm not saying that this is what you should aim for. Yeah, this is Martinez.
Yeah, there was a very precise photo reference here. So obviously, if you can get someone to pose in a robe doing the gesture, that's even better. But just in terms of the resolution, you don't need to go this detail. Like, obviously, Martina was able to do this because she had that exact photo to copy one-to-one from. You don't necessarily have to have that, obviously, but that means that if you don't have that, you don't have to, have an expectation of achieving a photographic result. You don't have to get this tight with it. But just note how there's more of a design, a believable design to all the elements of the clothing. It's not just one note. The cape is like the most one note thing, and that's okay because there's a lot going on elsewhere. And your guy feels a little bit simple, a little bit too plain. Yeah,
because we have this overcoat, which is fine. But then we just have this big kind of simple thing underneath it.
Skirt.
Yeah, what is this piece? Could we break this piece up into multiple pieces? Could we see a belt? Could we see something else in there? Could there be some sort of pattern on the outside? Maybe it has astrological symbols that are like embroidered on it or something. Just some way to give an extra bit of information and visual detail. Yep. Visual interest.
Yeah, a little, another extra bit of design on the costume would go a long way.
Good progress. I think this was a really good piece for you. I can tell that you pushed yourself. We made suggestions of fairly large edits at both times, and you took those feedback and you ran with them.
Yeah, I love what you did. It's working really well.
Yep.
I encourage you to go further with it, work more on the guy, and bring it up to a higher level. I think it's going to pay off. Okay, Janine. Hi, Janine. Janine is here. Hi, Janine.
Janine's... obviously you say here that you didn't have time to finish the potions classroom, but you wanted to hand in what you had. So hope that I moved in the right direction from the second review. Compositionally, this is a much stronger choice than where it was. The other one was what you might consider more of a third-person view of just the entire room. which you don't really want most of the time. So this is much more interesting. We're down here, we're getting to see the implements. We're at basically the student's level as if they were in the room, which is stronger. And it's just also going to be more approachable to paint this scene than the other one. Now, this is still at what I consider like early block-in. This is where we have basically established the base colors and the general layout of the scene. But we still need to do all of our shading. We need to determine where the light is. We need to determine what the color scheme is. So we're still at that level. I think you know kind of where you are in the process there. And sort of above that, above all of those things, is the way that you're approaching scenes. And you didn't specifically ask about this, but we'll touch on it, which is, I think you may be over-relying on the 3D to solve things that need to be solved through the drawing. And the 3D can be really good to help you determine, I would say, perspective scale issues, for one, and which I think it's doing. But we're still getting some remnants of there wasn't a set sketch or drawing that this was trying to fulfill. How would you explain it, or would you touch on that?
Well, it's the thing about this is I feel that the things that you're struggling with, that I feel like you're struggling with, maybe I'm reading into this incorrectly, but from what I'm perceiving, are things that maybe it would be better to solve on a smaller scale before going into big scenes, big rooms. Like, I'm not saying you can't do big rooms, but if like 3D is going to be a major component of that, you almost, I kind of feel like these are two different things, like what's going on here. Whereas there's environment design via 3D, where we are making a concept, we're making a layout, we're making a design, making it in 3D. And then there's illustration, where we can use 3D as a tool, but it's really the makings of a 2D image, which has different requirements and a different outcome, right? And I'm wondering, I'm getting the sense based on the previous weeks and the previous check-ins that you're facing some roadblocks maybe with your drawings, and so you retreat into 3D as a way to kind of get around those drawing issues. And that's not wrong to do, but I feel like it's going to limit what you can do. And what I might suggest, if you don't, if drawing and illustration is not your thing, I would just focus on doing 3D environments. I wouldn't even bother trying to make this into an illustration. I would have just done the whole classroom in 3D and focus on getting a nice 3D render out of it.
And that's completely valid.
Yeah, and that's totally valid. It wouldn't really be an illustration, but it would be a valuable image, and it would solve problems, and it would be a good portfolio piece in the sense that it would be concept art. But if you're wanting to actually do illustration, I would recommend just scaling down for a moment. And I don't remember, Janine, if you went through the materials course or not, but like I would suggest, even just to work on your drawing skills, just make like this image here and practice just drawing these items and rearranging them on the table, putting the book over here, putting bottles over here, more pestle over here, rearranging things, just drawing it by hand. And if you're struggling, practicing that, because removing those limitations will make you a lot more free to come up with compositions and draw roughs for scenes without having to go into 3D and rely on it to solve an image for you.
Now I will throw out there again, I've had a lot of people go through the materials and we forget who's been through every class.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But for the material rendering through props class, in one of the later weeks, I think it's week 6. We go through how to put together your own prop setup, and I show the entire process of sketching out a prop setup and doing multiple layouts and arrangements and picking a
Lighting
theme and all
directions.
that stuff. So if you have access to that, I'd suggest go back to that. That is a good place to start to actually do a scene like this, because essentially what you want to do is create a nice little kind of diorama of props, and you're picking and building a background to support it, right? Whereas I feel like what we were kind of getting previously, even from your original sketch of the Dueling Wizards, was you were creating an environment and then you were trying to figure out how to populate it with the subject. So again, if you come back to the materials lesson, watch through that, try to practice through that. There wasn't assignments on doing that, but just try to copy through that same process of sketching out, picking a theme, making a prop setup, then take that and then later just put it like on a table like this, and then figure out what kind of background that you could put back there to help support it.
Yeah, I feel like, and the reason I mention this is because if you're able to quickly rough down those sketches for your composition of where you want key items to be, it becomes a little bit easier to then go in 3D and put those items there to help you solve some perspective issues or scale issues. But I feel like it's harder to frame an image for illustration just going blind into 3D and populating it and then trying to frame it in a way that creates a good image. I'm not saying it's impossible. I feel like it's a little harder that way. Anyway, this is, a side conversation. And it's super common, Janine. Like it's not, I think all of us have gone through a phase in our career where we're like, I don't want to deal with drawing stuff in perspective. Let me try to find a solution. Let me try to find a workaround. I'm going to trace. I'm going to do 3D. I'm building maquettes. I'm doing and we still do some of those things to this day. Still, we're going to use 3D sometimes. Like, we're going to build a maquette. I bought a plastic helmet off of eBay last week because I was like, I am not about to model this specific helmet and I need to photograph this with the right light on. So I totally feel where you're coming from. But at a certain point in our career, we do all kind of realize, okay, I have to overcome some of these issues or I'm going to be just crippled by them. And you're kind of going to be a slave to these workarounds, and it's going to have problems of its own, right? Like we see. So anyway, I encourage you, honestly, look, I'm going to tell you, I encourage you, and this is not to make a sale. I don't know if you bought it already or not. I have no clue. But if you have Clint's form drawing class, go through it and make that part of like your daily practice, daily exercises. And, throwing notans on them, lighting those objects from different directions, doing lighting studies, implementing lighting from other references on your subjects, like what Clint is doing here. That can be really good practice just to help you gain some confidence from doing these things manually.
Yeah, so what I'm showing here is just one of the ways that you can progress, and what we're talking about with the values, it's literally just trying to do a version like this before you continue with it, before you start trying to populate everything with details and even working with the colors, is just grab what you've got right here, which has got the perspective, it's got the layout, it's got some value in there. And now we are just setting up, where are we putting the lights? What's going to be dark? Is the background going to be mid-tones? We're going to add some atmosphere. Usually this room has a lot of atmosphere, just even from the movies. Makes things look nice. And
nice and fuzzy.
and do that. And maybe we add some light across this table.
Yeah, maybe it's coming in from a window or a chandelier, like some candelabra off to the side.
Whatever it is, we come in here and we start resolving it. But do a quick study. In fact, probably do several. Just play around with where you want the light.
And then always keep your navigator open
Yeah.
so you can see how it's looking.
And does the thumbnail work at this level in black and white? If it does, okay, now you're good. Now you can keep going with it.
Yeah,
So.
I have faith in you, Janine. I know that you're making progress and you're trying to up your skills. Totally get it. I've been there. So just keep doing what you're doing and consider adding some other 2D exercises, lighting exercises to help you progress.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Erica's here, I think. I don't know. I can't tell in the chat.
Oh, I felt like I saw her earlier. Yeah, she was there earlier.
Here we go.
Hopefully I haven't lost her. So Erica is also, you're doing Rowena as well. And a lot of time has been put into this piece over the last 2 weeks.
Yes.
We see a lot of work being done, shading, colors being added to everything. And there is just no way to do a scene like this where it does not take a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
So
there's a lot of objects to paint.
Yeah. Firstly, I want to say it is good to see the willingness to put in the amount of work that you have. A lot of artists, that is the point that stops them. Every time you come across a hurdle in a piece or in the progress of just being an artist who's trying to improve their skills is a hurdle that somebody else stops at, and they just never get past that.
Correct.
So every time you hit a hurdle, I remember my dad telling me that, and no matter what you're doing, every time you have difficulty, remember somebody else, that's where they stop. And that's how you end up getting ahead, is that you outlast everyone else. And you don't stop at the difficult thing that the other person stopped at. So will you stop here? Will you keep going? I don't know. That's up to you.
Good job on changing the costume. I feel like it feels a lot more, medieval or time period appropriate, more wizardy. Yeah.
Set dressing and the including of all these supporting items is one of the stronger things in the image.
Mm-hmm. You definitely were not lazy. You added a lot of stuff, a lot of information back here.
Now let's talk about some things that could be improved. One is the magic. I'm going to make a guess here. I'm going to guess that the image didn't have the impact that you wanted it to have or thought it could have, and you reached for the magic as a means to try to add more, to get more visual pop, get some more energy into it.
We don't know. It's just a guess.
It's just a guess. But by including it, as we are starting to shift the context of the image. This is no longer basically a portrait of Rowena. It is now about this spell.
Yeah, this is very prominent, right,
Yep.
across the whole image. Mm-hmm.
So the spell is the biggest, most colorful, brightest thing in the image. So
yeah, good guess.
Yeah,
it's almost like we've done this before.
Yeah. So you're feeling that it needed more bump, that it needed something was accurate. The solution was not the solution to really address that.
Maybe not the cleanest solution.
Yeah. So for you, going forwards with this image, but I think also just in general, really want to spend time here. Okay? It's the values. The values is the most important thing that needs to be improved and needs attention, and the thing that would improve this piece the most.
It does a lot of heavy lifting in an image. Yeah.
So if we switch this to black and white, what we're getting is what I consider broken values, where you kind of find every value everywhere, and there's no plane separation or necessarily even object separation. The face has blacks and it has whites in very close proximity. The magic is creating a lot of contrast kind of everywhere. We're having basically straight whites and blacks in high contrast all over the place with the papers and the books and everything. But one of the biggest ones is the characters getting lost to the background, where the values of the character and the values of the background are almost the same.
Yeah, this will print flat.
Yeah.
With the exception of the magic areas, but everything else is going to flatten out.
And as we said earlier, the scene ought to work with no details and in black and white. So a way that you can get rid of details, which Diana actually showed me, I wasn't really familiar with this, but you can get your layer and go up to filter, go to noise, and go to medium. And here's where it's going to just simplify the detail, and you can pick how many pixels. It's similar to a blur, but doesn't give you necessarily all the same fuzzy edges. It blurs within shapes. So we could set this up to whatever. We can pull out until, well, we get just larger blocks. Yeah, somewhere around there. And we can see if we get that smaller, it's just kind of fragmented. Whereas if we look at a different piece, so like here's a piece that still works really well in black and white. And what I talk about is color ranges per object. All of the skin sets within one color range. None of it gets as white as that metal white, but none of it gets as dark as the dark of the hair, except for like just the iris, right? So that's an exception, and the nostril. And this sets within a one value range, doesn't get lighter or darker. This all sets within one value range.
It can go up a half a notch or up or down, one tone, but it doesn't bleed out into, very much darker or much lighter. Yeah.
So that is where you're going to get the most impact if you're trying to put together another scene. And I would suggest on your next piece, once you get it to the drawing stage and you're happy with the layout of the drawing, make sure you nail that value scheme at that stage before you keep going. As for now, I think this was a really good exercise for you. And I think you really did challenge yourself. We pushed you a lot from that original sketch, and you did a big revision to get to that color rough stage.
That's true.
And you also did a complete costume change from last one, even though you'd already put in a lot of work on that costume. But ultimately, I think this costume just reads better for the character.
Yeah, I don't know if you're going to continue to work on this piece or not. But yeah, there are just a couple of quick things, if you want to, that I think would make a bit of a difference. Is I feel like you were already feeling it and you were trying to get this background lighter than the character, and I think that's a good call, and I would continue to push that a little bit more. I also feel like this costume is getting very, very, very dark, and even with a dark blue dress, that might be a bit too dark and too saturated. It's you might want to bring it up a little bit. Another thing that you can do is we're getting like kind of, this is what I call kind of crayon box, where you have these like one of each, very, very bright colors kind of everywhere, and it prevents the image from feeling cohesive and having a cohesive color scheme. It's kind of like going to the box crayons and just picking one of each and, putting it all over the image. So even just bringing these, I don't know, this is not my Photoshop, this is Clint's, but I'm trying to see here where the color is. Okay. By bringing these colors closer to gray, right? Oh my gosh, I don't know it's not funny, I'm trying to do the shortcuts here. Bringing them closer to gray, you can desaturate them and...
We can pull a lot of stuff closer.
And, I'm not saying that that's the answer, but bringing them into a more desaturated place can make them feel more unified. And, oh my gosh, what is this brush? You were touching something. You don't need to be touching anything, do you? No, leave it alone. Oh my gosh. I'm getting hostile already.
Yeah, all colors become more cohesive and more harmonious the closer they get to gray.
Yeah.
So if you're going to have a wide range of colors in an image, you generally want to shift them all at least 50% to gray.
I would just bring them down. If you bring them down, they look less like they're fighting each other. Another thing too is maybe not using so many colors, like making some of them just brown and blue or brown and black or something like that with the odd, orange one here or there, but not using magenta and green and orange and blue. So doing some fixes like that. Another thing I would recommend too is, I always recommend this, another pass on the face. We're getting really contrasty changes here from light to dark. Lots of gray on the face and not a lot of the actual skin tone. So we're just going from white to this, murky gray color. And something that Clint likes to do, and on pieces like this, is take a skin color. I have no idea what this is because I don't have the color wheel, but just glazing over top at 40%. To, infuse some color back into that skin. That might be a little too much. You might have to go up a little bit in tone, but basically removing some of the black and injecting some color into the light area. Yeah. Taking another crack at the face. I don't know if you had a reference for this portrait. The eyebrows are a bit harsh. The eyeliner is a bit harsh. Again, just bringing that away from black into like a gray zone or a grayish brown can really help.
Yeah, make sure you're working from a good reference. We're trying to make her really beautiful. It's a beautiful sort of character. And picking out lighting that is going to be maybe flattering the face a little more. Not wanting to outline the nose too much.
Portrait's my worst enemy.
Well, you got to check out my portraits class when it comes out.
Don't say that. No. It's a good start to a portrait. It just needs a little bit more fine-tuning, more referencing. I'm convinced that you can get there. And I don't remember, Erica, were you the person who was asking for like a fabric or costume painting thing? Because I'm working on something like that, and I don't remember if it was you that mentioned it. But we are going to have, in my romance course, we're going to have exercises about that, about costuming, and hopefully that, with some exercises that should be helpful.
I'll just give a little idea. So... Okay. Well, Erica, thank you for participating. We hope that it was worth your time and your effort. We appreciate
all the work you put in. You really, gave it a ton of effort, and we appreciate that. We enjoyed seeing it.
Yeah. Okay, we have Zach.
Don't know if Zach is here.
I don't know if Zach is here either. I'm glancing up there occasionally, unless I missed it. Okay, Zach, image has progressed pretty much the way you expect from the sketch. I think we made a little adjustment with the scale of the character. It feels a little bigger now, which is nice. Made some edits over here with some more side light on that back character. For this, we're still running into a lot of the same problems. So there's a little more resolution here, but ultimately this is another situation of value holding this piece back. The thing that dominates this scene is obviously the magic. Now, the magic is critical to the image, but it's not the only thing in the image. And if this was a piece for publish or one that we were handling with the studio, we would need to make sure that all the rest of the environment and the characters are still going to show up really well and not just the magic. Because if we look at this, again, really dark.
And there's like a spike at the white for the magic.
The magic's all here. So whatever this is, you can assume that once it's printed, you're going to lose a bit.
Yeah, even if it was like a print or in a book or as a card. In this case, like the mock project was a card, right? It would print pretty flat, except for that, big magic effect.
The white won't be as white because no white is as bright as an actual lit screen. So you got to turn that down, and then the saturation isn't going to be as saturated as screen, so you got to turn that down. And then you got to make it at the scale. How does that read? Well, that reads basically I can see blue and red, but I can't really make out anything else. So again, we've got to find a way to bring more resolution, and we got to bring up the value. And
we're not saying this is easy. Nobody ever said this was easy. This is hard. This job is hard. No. And the scene like this, like a duel in a dark place, yes, this is hard, very hard.
So we've said it before, which is this problem is one of those problems is what you get paid for. This is the job. The ability to solve an image like this is what they pay hire artists for. That is the difficult thing. Just being able to paint a thing isn't enough. A lot of people can just paint things. Can you paint things that look good while balancing the composition, the value scheme,
all the
visual
they ask
narrative?
For, yeah. And that will print well or, will look good for whatever the intended purpose is.
Now, I came across another image that I feel like, if it were me, would be an excellent direction and would help me sort of get my head around how to do this scene.
I've never seen this picture before. Clint found it just, today or yesterday?
Yeah, I came across it today. I was looking for some other things.
It says 2016 Elvira Shatunova. Do not know this artist, but this piece is awesome. It does so many things so well. It's a night scene. It looks like a night scene. It's in a library, similar thing. Kind of has that vibe. It's got owls. I know it has nothing to do with Harry Potter, I don't think, but it's got the owls there. It's got a magic effect, some strong lighting. So it's doing a lot of things that you need for your piece, and we can take some inspiration from it.
So you notice that on all of this, even though it's a night scene, we're getting really good value separation. We're getting dynamic colors, dynamic value pairs. The atmosphere is reducing the amount of detail in a lot of the background.
Look how controlled that rim light is. Oh my goodness gracious. That's a soft touch.
And this is the sort of thing we'd want for this character over here. I mean, imagine if this character was basically here and you all had all this beautiful pop of light off of this character. right? And then we had more of this soft blue light behind this guy, and we had maybe some candles burning over here or some sconces on the ends of the walls, and you get the warm light on this side. This is the direction that we would have to take this image to get to like a proper AAA level version of this scene. So there's a lot of room for improvement of like pushing it that way.
It's a lot of work involved.
But it's a lot of work.
Yeah, there's a lot of work involved, troubleshooting. Like, as small as this piece may be, at a full screen size, you would need another pass on this character. There's still some issues here with the anatomy and just finesse of the costume. I feel like this guy's still a little bit too rough. We're still getting magic kind of interrupting his design here. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like, and I don't know if Zach is here, so I'm just going to extrapolate, right? Because I can't ask him. But I feel like for what Zach was trying to accomplish, he accomplished that. It feels like your sketch, the direction that you wanted to go in from the beginning, it hasn't really changed much. So I feel like according to your vision, to what you set out to achieve, you did achieve that. And we're just pointing out, okay, here's some technical improvements that could be made. And also, you know, Zach, you're a big boy. You've been doing this a while. I don't know if you ended up going to New Edge or not. I could be misremembering or confusing you with someone else. But if you know, knowing that your goal is to get into this as a profession, this would be absolutely like things that your art director would mention to you. And that's why we're mentioning them. So it's fine to have like your vision for what the piece should be, and totally normal and fine on a personal piece. But if this was a client piece, an art director would absolutely mention these things to you.
Well, and that brings one point. I'll touch on this, then we'll move to the next one, which is, in an ideal scenario, your art director would say, this is an issue and this is what you need to do about it. But in most situations, the art director would say, this is the issue, figure out what the solution is.
That does happen sometimes.
And you would need to know how to address this. You would need to know what the problem is, because they may not have the time to problem solve it for you. And this is probably what we showed is likely the answer that they're probably looking for, because they're probably working with other guys.
And we've been working with them long enough to know what to expect. But yeah, just to be aware of, if your art director said, hey, you need to make this more colorful, you need to add more light, you need to make this print better, we need to see more of the background. If they say those things to you, this is kind of what they mean, where they may not go get this picture and show you, hey, do this, but they may be thinking of this and want that approach, and they'll just say, we need to see more of the background. And you're like, what do you mean, more detail? No, they mean more light, more color, more light, more development, more set dressing. It's usually all those things, and you have to figure out how to bring that into your piece in a way that satisfies them and meets the technical requirements. But okay, let's move on to the next piece.
Saw a comment there by Albert. Albert, we will recommend a course for you if you can just shoot us an email with a link to your work online, or attach a couple of pieces to your email. We'll have a look at it and just let you know what we think the most appropriate course would be for you. And you can just send that to clint@swatchesacademy.com. And that's for anybody else. If you want a personal course recommendation, just shoot me an email. Let me know, hey, I'm interested in a course. Here's a link to my work. I'll take a look at it, and I'll try to, pick you out the best one, or maybe give you a couple of options. We got Miyuki.
Miyuki's here. Hey, Miyuki.
Okay, Miyuki, I really like where this is going. Now, I think you even mentioned this is a whip. Yeah.
Miyuki says it's 70%.
70%. That seems fair.
Yeah.
Okay. Charming scene. It hasn't lost any of the charm. You have your own style about this, and again, I like where it's going.
And Miyuki, you never skimp, which I love. Look at all this beautiful rendering, painting back here. Like, you did not skimp on anything. This tower back here, very good.
I will do that if they ask it of me, but that is not what I like to do.
If any ADs are watching, he doesn't mean that. He loves doing it. Just disregard that.
I become more impressionist the older I get.
We're suggesting the background.
Oh yeah, I was making some edits there earlier. Okay, so for you, Miyuki, the obvious thing, let's say it, the other 30% is what's needed. So we've got some things that are basically still just a sketch in, and we've got some things that are more resolved. Right? She's more resolved. We obviously need to go around and make everybody consistent.
The hands, the cats, yeah, we see it. But so, overall, I think it's going really, really well.
The thing that I want to pull out to you, I think we've mentioned it before, which is style. Not everyone needs to aim for house style, kind of the standard painted semi-realism that Magic the Gathering has. Magic has a variety of different styles that they allow. There is kind of a common one, which we call house style. Most of my work fits within that because I've just been working with them for so long that that's kind of what I do most of the time. And I don't know that that is necessarily the best fit for you. You're certainly getting there, but your lines are also really nice. And I feel like there might be a medium style that brings some resolution or some painting, but also is not fully painting out the lines. I am hesitant to suggest that because generally you just have to rely on intuition for what that looks like. And it's very hard to teach, which is why we don't teach it, why we just generally teach how to paint in a more realistic way, and then you can figure out how to stylize from there if you want to. I'll pull up a couple of pieces.
But that said, I just think for what you've done already, what you accomplished, you're like, this is so beautifully done. Flawless, Miyuki, flawless. I think you should finish the rest of the image in the same way.
Yes.
That kid's face is looking terrific. Great edits done on that kid. Obviously, the rest of him and the cat are not done. That's fine. But what you've got done is looking really, really good. And I think you should finish the image in that style because you're already 70% of the way there. So this is a side conversation, not to be applied on this piece.
A going forwards thing.
Because you're already too far along on this piece to change direction now. Most
of the time I am asked to do more realism, which I can do. Now, this is a piece I did for D&D several years ago for the Tiefling race, and it's one where I didn't have to do that. I did more of a line-based sort of painting, and as a blend between some painted elements and more kind of drawn elements.
We're not always allowed to do this.
No, we're not. I'd like to be able to do this more. I enjoy doing it. Not an option. And I'm just saying that you might want to experiment with a couple of styles in this vein. And let me show some.
It's a little, it's a little Adam Hughesy.
It's a little Adam Hughesy.
A little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, I would be hard pressed to teach someone how to do this because you're just kind of changing the rules in a lot of places depending on what you're painting or how you're painting it.
It's a little, I don't know, it makes me think of Ian McCaig and those type. It's like bordering, most of the proportions are realistic, and then you're using kind of this more graphic approach.
Yeah, everything on the inside is more well painted. Faces are more well rendered with more form rendering than the rest of it. A lot of the other areas, such as the clothing, is more flat. Like there's like no shading basically on that guy's clothing. And you're just trying to pop things with some material information like the wear on the edges of the cloak, or suggesting some texture on the embroidery and stuff. And that serves to be the detail rather than light and shadow information. And you're doing the spotted black, sort of no tan, little small occlusion shadows to help hold things sort of visually together.
I'm mentioning this that you might want to experiment with a style like this or the other one. Let's see the other image. Really like this too. This is a lot more form forward though, I think, but it's still got some lines in there.
And
like here and there.
there's still some lines in here, but it's also a way, let's pull out and take a look. It's also a way that you can get a lot of light and color, but it's not being literal. And that could work for a scene like this, because if we're treating this literally, it's going to be very hard to paint and render everything. But by kind of doing almost a flat lighting where it's basically two tones, there's a light and a shadow version of everything, that everything uses like a 30% shadow, 35% shadow. And it keeps it very almost flat but colorful. And that would be an interesting direction. This is
this is a lot less literal.
Yes. Way more illustrative, shape-based, drawing dependent. Need a strong drawing, need strong values. And it's relying less on form rendering than it is just good drawing and kind of value scheme.
Well, the form is there. It's just, again, it's not on everything. Like some of the clothes, some of the objects are totally flat. And then only the points of interest that he wants you to look at are given more rendering, more form. But these kids over here are pretty flat. So again, is this literal? Is this realistic? No. Right. But the information that is there is accurate. There's no mistakes. So people sometimes get confused between...
Yeah, that's true.
Realistic, I'm not trying to make it realistic, so therefore mistakes are okay. Like incorrect form rendering, incorrect line. It's like, no, there's no mistakes in this. The things that are rendered correctly, and the things that are flatter intentionally, right? There's no mistake here. So this is something we don't teach because this is an interpretive thing. It's a non-literal thing, and there are a million ways that you can do this. And there's no hard and fast rule to teach someone do it like this and not like that, right?
You mentioned there, you said I'm pretty line work reliant and definitely struggle with finding a fitting style. I guess doing portraits and practices exploring styles is the best way to go at it. Yeah, and to that end, if you find one that you like, and maybe it's this one, whatever, we'll say it's this one. Oh, I really like that. Then do a one-to-one study of this.
A copy of this.
Just a copy of at least a portion of it. And then immediately go and paint something else that's not too dissimilar. Like just paint her, but try to match that same style right after you did the study. And that way that it's fresh. And if you go through this, you're treating it like a master study. By copying it, you're going to start understanding things about it that you didn't notice or understand by just observing it.
Like how to actually achieve that look.
Yes.
Yeah. So
maybe you're going through it and you're realizing, oh, I didn't realize by just looking at it that this kid's face was out of focus. And that's one of the things that makes this arm stand out and it's sharper. Or that there's a darker line here, or that he's running the forehead directly into the nose with no bridge. Right? There's all kinds of little things that maybe you pick up on when you're copying it. So do a study, do a practice, and then maybe you find a different picture and you do a study of it.
Yeah.
And then you do a practice onto something else.
Grab the tieflings and try to do a study of another piece that has that kind of approach. Yeah.
I remember this one as well. This is also kind of interesting that it's non-literal. Like it's using really clear shapes and kind of value blocks. But then they're doing like a literal rendering on the face, even though it doesn't necessarily match the lighting or anything.
It's like something Dan DeSantis would do.
I think it is his.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Has that look about it.
Yeah. So whichever one it is, that would be
I would
something
try
good
a
to
few
study.
different approaches because, yeah, we know that you are very line-based with your art, and we always feel bad kind of pushing you on projects to not do that, which is why I've avoided that, and I've avoided giving you projects that require the lines to be painted out. But anyway, we're bringing this to you as a way to see if you can expand your already natural inclinations.
A note on this guy, it'd be the last thing I've got, is this guy just feels like he's getting kind of flat visually and a bit dark. His face is kind of getting muddy. So a suggestion would be to, I think we can brighten him up and then just put, and trying to even out his skin a bit, just put a little more ambient light on him and then put like a stronger edge light. And that way, he's not getting so grayed out back there. And instead of doing full form rendering to get the value over, you're just condensing all of that light on one edge. And that allows you to basically just say, oh, he's being exposed for the shadow, and you're bringing up all the shadow.
Yeah, be careful of letting those muddy tones get in there on his head.
Yeah. So again, that's kind of the difference there. And this would take it more in the direction of that piece. And that's more of the way that they would do it, is treating it a little flatter and then just doing a bright edge. Maybe if you
We don't know who did that piece, but
yeah.
if that artist ends up seeing this, we really like it.
Okay, Miyuki, beautiful work. Shoot us the final when you get it done. Love to take a look at it.
Yeah, super good, Miyuki.
And the last one we have today is Shelby.
Sorry for making you wait, Shelby.
I did do some work on this, but let's talk about it before we take a look at those layers. We've got some nice resolution there on the face in particular. Got some good color tones, the nose, the mouth, the cheeks. Working on the expression there, some good form rendering, planes of the face. That's all really good to see. We're not going crazy on the lighting on that from the Patronus. It keeps putting it inside of the group instead of on top of the group. There we go. And that's nice, because otherwise we're going to just kind of underlight her and make her look a little odd. So
It's a nice soft touch.
Subtle. This could be taken further. I don't know whether you consider this finished or not.
Shelby says
Oh, so definitely need to finish the hands.
finish the hands. Okay. Yeah, I concur.
Yeah, I would say the costume and the hands could use more attention. Like we're getting no form rendering through any of that. And a lot of this is just kind of one flat tone. So suggesting some more folds, a little more texture could go quite a ways to making it a stronger piece. Now, a few other things start getting into artistic preference, but we'll point them out since you're asking for our input.
That's what we're here to do.
One of them is a tangent. Either way, I think this needs to be addressed. We got a tangent of this is setting. It looks like she's balancing a little book on her finger. Okay. Tangents sneak up on everybody,
Oh, yes.
so we just try to catch them as often as we can and address them. So that book needs to be moved somewhere. Now, another thing is with this book. Now, the problem with that book is we know that this book is in front of her because it's overlapping her, which means that this is bigger because of perspective than it would be if it was where she is, which means that it would be even smaller back here, and that would make the book about that big, which seems really small, even for like a notebook. So that really needs to be doubled in size. And the blue of the books is effective at conveying that they're magical, but they're also eye magnets. It's just hard to look at anything else.
Kind of overpowering your Patronus and your image, especially here. This just is an eye magnet, and it's making me look away from the character.
My solution and my suggestion would be paint them as normal books and just give a glow around them. Because right now they look like they're ghost books, like they're manifested magical things rather than actual books. And maybe that's what you were going for, but at some stage like this, you have to look at it and say, well, is it helping or hindering? I think it is hindering in that it's taking away focus from this area, which is the focal point. So dealing with that, other things is we're getting really hard edges on a lot of the hair in particular. That the hair doesn't feel soft. It doesn't feel like it's flowing.
It's a good block-in.
Yeah, good block-in. Yeah. So this is what some of those changes would look like. Doesn't. Oh, there we go.
You're on the wrong one, yeah.
So that's what some of those changes would look like. Getting the books to being more normal bookish colors. Just having a little blue around them, putting that same kind of blue around the wand so that we know that there's a connection between the two. We are putting some blending strokes and edges around the hair so it feels softer. We're also brightening the background with an exposure layer just to help bring out some value separation. Now, all of these changes are actually pretty quick to put in. There's very little painting, just some brush strokes to blend the hair. But the rest of it is results that you can get by just attending to the major things, looking at composing the books, placing it, scaling it, doing quick color changes, doing a quick exposure with a mask. So that would be the direction that I'd suggest to go with it. Oh, and I also did some indication of maybe some more form rendering there on the arm, on the sleeve, suggesting some more folds. Maybe the black, like in this area, is a little brighter because the black is just stained black no matter whether it's lit or shadowed. So that would be a way that we could help convey a little more form there. So now I feel like more attention goes back to the face from this one. That I'm not being as distracted with the blue. Those are my notes. What's your thoughts there?
Yep, I agree with all this. I definitely think toning the books down helps a lot. At this point, if you want to do this, I don't know if you want to, but if you get to this point, you're like, what else could I do beyond this? One thing I think would be good, and I definitely encourage, is to develop this back here, give it something, some shape or some woodwork back here that it's just very flat, right? It's just a series of parallels and then nothing there. So I would consider, some kind of molding or some kind of effect, engraving or something. Another thing would be, be careful again of just too many repeating parallels. Have some of these books come, going in different directions or other objects.
Well, sometimes they lay them horizontally, stack them.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, there could be, stacks over here. Could be like some objects behind her, some books. You could have scrolls up there as well, piled on. So just a way to make that background a little bit more interesting. Yes, that is a time suck as well. It's like everything is, right? Everything is extra time and extra commitment. So implement or disregard at will. But that's where the extra 10% is.
Mm-hmm. Okay, everybody, that is all the feedback. It starts to wrap up this art challenge. We'll hang around for a couple of minutes if anybody has any questions.
Oh, beautiful face, though,
yes.
Shelby. I just wanted to point that out. I don't know if I mentioned it earlier. Yeah, if anyone has any questions or comments.
I think that's yes.
I'm sorry, I'm so low energy. It's just been a really long week.
It has been.
Long days, and I'm just getting to the end, running out of steam.
So we don't have any other art challenges scheduled at this time. The reason of that is we know there is a series of upcoming commissions that we're going to be quite busy with. So we are not scheduling anything for that.
No, we'll be busy with the studio for the next at least 3 months.
Yeah. I am actively working on the portraits course and halfway through videoing and editing that. So that will be coming out in the near future. So
I don't know, will it come out in May?
It will. I would love for it to. If it comes out in May, it'll probably come out at the end of May because I will need to prep things for the launch. I will need to prep
the website.
The website. I need to build the module and website and all that stuff. And I need time to put together a sell and announcements and stuff. So ideally, I'd like it to be done before the commission waves come in.
Yeah, because it's always hard to juggle those and classwork at the same time. So we're going to try to get the classes, or at least Clint's class, out first. Mm-hmm. Mine will take a little bit longer. I'm adding a lot of stuff, all kinds of stuff. So
yeah, because we're expanding that out from being a workshop. So
it was a workshop, and now it's going to be an 8-week course with maybe like 4-week extension supplemental and like 2 maybe 3D videos. I don't know, it's gonna have a lot of stuff, so I'm working on all that, and it's gonna cause delay. I'm always delayed, everything is delayed always, but it will come out this year. I just don't know when exactly, which month. Clint's portrait class will be out a lot sooner than that, and there's another instructor that's almost finished his course, so his might come out maybe even in June, possibly.
June's a possibility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's getting really close to finishing.
And I'm doing I started on the video editing for that one as well. Mm-hmm. So, but when we get closer on that one, we'll announce the details about it. We're not yet saying any particulars about that one. Well, I'm not seeing any questions.
Oh, do you track how many hours you spent on a piece? Yeah, I mean, we track them in a general sense, but we know, like, any piece like this, like a piece for Wizards of the Coast, it's a minimum of 30 hours. It depends on, they've been, like, I don't want to say too much, but we've been getting some really complicated things in the past 12 months that are probably closer to the 100-hour range.
Yeah.
Than to the 30-hour range, but it can go anywhere between, a single character, like something like this, you could maybe do in 30 hours. You start adding other characters and more complicated backgrounds, then you're looking at 50, 60, 70, 100 hours for a cover, something like that. You guys going to Lightbox? No, Tim, we're not going to Lightbox. That was a lot of money. to go there.
That was an expensive little excursion.
It was an excursion, and we didn't make any money off of it. So, and I mean, we didn't go there to make money, but it's a loss, right, for us.
Mm-hmm.
So we did it last year, and it was fun, and we wanted to have that experience and connect with people in person. But it's just, we take like a huge hit doing it, and we can't do it again this year.
I have a lot of time in the coming weeks, so I'll be looking out for your email so I can start the course.
Oh.
Well, cool.
Cool.
Yeah, I'd be happy to have you.
Enjoy this channel. Oh, thanks, Javier. We really enjoyed all the, we really appreciate all the effort that you guys put into your pieces and, submitting every 2 weeks and sticking with it. A lot of people stuck with it. Generally, a lot more people quit.
Yes, that's true.
We get I'm not criticizing them. They have their reasons. But it's just something that happens, and it didn't happen so much with this challenge.
Yeah.
And it's good for us and for the people watching because they get to see the pieces progress.
Well, if you participated in the challenge, put in the comment here real quick whether the 3 check-ins with the extra 2 weeks was a significant factor in staying with the project. I think one of the reasons...
Was it easier for you to stick with it, or was it harder? Did you feel like it was dragging on too long?
Yeah, because I don't know if it goes one way or the other that, it was too long, therefore I lost steam and I quit, or it was too short on the other one and I quit because I couldn't find the time to put in the time that I needed. So whatever your feeling was on that, let us know, because this is the first time that we've done the triple check-ins.
Kurt says 3 check-ins are much better in my opinion. Okay. So.
I liked having 3 check-ins. Definitely not too long. Okay. Do you guys ever plan on collaborating with other artists?
In what way?
Yeah, it depends on how you mean it, because we are having other artists coming on to teach their areas of expertise with Academy.
We also work with other artists in the studio, but I don't know what you are specifically referring to.
If you're referring to YouTube video crossovers, then no. We're just too busy to do a lot of YouTube video stuff.
Cross promotion with people.
Interviews and chats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll probably ask Fred Fred Rambo wants to come back on the channel sometime.
Yeah, we might have.
Because we had a good conversation with him. It'd be good to check in with him again and see how things are going. And a lot of people enjoyed that interview.
Irina says 3 check-in are perfect, much easier. Miyuki said 2 weeks felt like a good amount of time to make some significant updates. Abraham says the color roughs was the part I struggled with, so that helped a lot.
That's the hard part.
Yeah. Okay, so everybody's saying 3 felt better.
Okay, well maybe we should just do that going forward.
I did hear you guys' comments. I got a couple of pieces of feedback from the color roughs where we floated the idea of doing a color rough workshop outlining how do you do effective, efficient color roughs and establishing a lot of good color, lighting, value information.
Thumbnails,
multiple variations, adapting lighting from other reference images. We have a process that we use for that works really well for us. So you guys said that you would be interested in that. So I've added that to the docket of something that I would like to start making.
Maybe after your portrait class is out. Because that, I think, would be really helpful. And we got some feedback from our studio artists that when we went through that with them, that they appreciated that information. So maybe you guys will too.
Yep. Good. Okay, guys. Well, we have to head over to some other projects that need our attention.
Yeah, home reno.
Over there. So we're going to wrap it up on this. We appreciate everybody who participated in particular. And we always want to give feedback with with some acknowledgement of you being willing to give us that opportunity, and you're entrusting us to help you and be have your goodwill in mind. So thank you for trusting us with your artwork, and we hope that you found the experience beneficial, and we hope that you'll stick around the community and maybe participate in a new one later on.
Thank you, Janine. You guys are all really sweet, and yeah, we're so thankful to have this community. So thanks.
Okay, we'll catch you guys later. Until then, keep drawing.